Bringing timeless Buddhist principles to everyday life, we explore mindfulness, compassion, and self-awareness in a modern context. By connecting ancient wisdom to today's challenges, we guide you toward inner peace, clarity, and resilience. Welcome to Radiant Wisdom.
Welcome to Radiant Wisdom, where we explore timeless teachings, thought-provoking philosophies, and practical tools to enrich your life and bring clarity to your everyday experiences. If you're searching for ways to deepen your understanding of the mind, cultivate inner peace, and approach life with more balance, you're in the right place. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who could use a moment of mindfulness, and comment below with your thoughts or questions. Let's grow together as a community of seekers on this journey toward wisdom and tranquility. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by your own thoughts? You're lying in bed at night, hoping to rest, but your mind won't stop replaying conversations from the day, worrying about tomorrow, or diving into memories of the past. It's as if your brain has a mind of its own, leaping from one thought to another like a monkey swinging through the trees. This feeling of mental restlessness isn't unique to you. It's something we all experience, especially in a world that's constantly demanding our attention. The truth is, we live in a time where distractions are everywhere. From endless notifications on our phones to the pressure of always being on, our minds are rarely given the chance to rest. This constant busyness can leave us feeling drained, scattered, and even disconnected from ourselves and the people around us. But here's the thing. While we can't always control the chaos of the outside world, we can learn to calm the storm within, and that's exactly what we'll explore today. The art of centering the mind. In today's video, we'll uncover the timeless wisdom of two powerful perspectives. The Buddhist practice of Samādhi, or concentration, and the Western philosophical approach embodied by René Descartes' famous statement, "I think, therefore I am." While these two traditions may seem worlds apart, they both offer profound insights into how we can navigate the complexities of the mind. We'll examine the differences and surprising similarities between thought and non-thought, and how balancing these two states can unlock a deeper sense of clarity and presence in your life. You'll also learn about practical tools you can use to start centering your mind today. From the simple power of mindful breathing to turning everyday tasks into moments of focus and reflection, these practices will help you bring more calm and intention into your daily routine. Think of them as small steps that lead to a big shift. Steps that anyone, including you, can take toward a more centered and peaceful mind. But why does this matter? Why should we make the effort to center our minds in the first place? Because the quality of our mind determines the quality of our life. When our thoughts are scattered, we feel scattered. When our focus is fractured, so is our sense of peace. But when we learn to cultivate concentration and presence, we open the door to greater clarity, resilience, and even joy. We begin to see the world and ourselves more clearly, not through the fog of distraction, but with the light of understanding. So, wherever you are right now, whether you're listening on your morning commute, sitting quietly at home, or perhaps even feeling overwhelmed by the demands of your day, take a deep breath. Inhale slowly and exhale. This is your moment to pause, reflect, and reset. Together, let's explore what it means to center the mind, not by suppressing our thoughts, but by learning to observe them with patience and compassion. Let's begin. The restless mind. Let's take a moment to talk about something we've all experienced, the restless mind. Imagine this scenario. You're sitting in a quiet room, hoping to relax after a long day, but instead of enjoying the stillness, your thoughts start racing. You're replaying an awkward conversation from earlier, worrying about tomorrow's deadlines, or maybe even daydreaming about a far-off vacation. Before you know it, what was supposed to be a moment of peace has turned into an endless mental tug-of-war. This state of mind is something we all know too well, and in Buddhist philosophy it's referred to as the monkey mind. Why a monkey? Because just like a monkey swinging from branch to branch, our thoughts jump from one topic to another without pause, rarely settling in one place. It's restless, unpredictable, and frankly exhausting. But what's most surprising is how normal this state has become in our modern lives. Think about how much information we're bombarded with every day. News updates, social media notifications, emails, texts, advertisements. It never seems to end. Our minds are constantly processing, analyzing, and reacting to this endless stream of input. It's no wonder we feel so mentally scattered. What's even more challenging is that this mental chatter doesn't just affect our peace of mind. It can distort the way we see ourselves, others, and the world around us. When the mind is restless, it's easy to get caught up in overthinking. We might obsess over small mistakes, imagine worst-case scenarios, or dwell on problems without finding solutions. This can lead to feelings of stress, anxiety, and even burnout. And here's the kicker: all of this thinking often doesn't accomplish much. It just leaves us feeling stuck, like we're spinning our wheels without actually moving forward. But let's pause for a moment and reflect. Why does the mind behave this way? One reason is that our thoughts are tied to our survival instincts. The human brain is wired to scan for danger, anticipate challenges, and solve problems. This was incredibly useful for our ancestors, who needed to stay alert to threats in their environment. But in today's world, where the threats are often abstract, like deadlines, finances, or social pressures, our minds can go into overdrive, constantly trying to solve problems that aren't immediate or even real. Another reason for the restless mind is our attachment to the past and the future. How often do we find ourselves rehashing old memories or worrying about what's to come? While it's natural to reflect and plan, too much focus on the past or future pulls us away from the one moment we truly have, the present. And when we lose touch with the present, we miss out on the beauty and clarity it can offer. Here's a simple but powerful example. Imagine you're walking through a park. The sun is shining, the breeze is gentle, and the flowers are in full bloom. But instead of noticing these things, your mind is elsewhere, thinking about what you're going to cook for dinner or replaying a work meeting from earlier in the day. The result? You miss the moment entirely. You might be physically present, but your mind is somewhere else, lost in a sea of thoughts. This is the reality of the restless mind. It robs us of our ability to be fully present, to appreciate the simple joys of life, and to connect with the people and experiences around us. But here's the good news. The mind, while restless by nature, can also be trained. Just as you can teach a monkey to focus and calm down with patience and practice, you can learn to quiet your thoughts and center your mind. The first step is awareness, recognizing when your mind is racing or wandering. The next is learning to gently guide it back to the present moment, whether through your breath, a focused activity, or a simple pause. It's not about suppressing your thoughts or trying to stop them altogether. Instead, it's about observing them with curiosity and compassion, understanding that they're just a part of your mental landscape, not the whole picture. As we continue this journey, we'll explore practical techniques to help you calm the restless mind and cultivate a state of clarity and focus. Because while the monkey mind may be part of our nature, so too is our ability to find stillness even amidst the chaos. And that stillness is where true peace begins. The power of concentration. Now that we've explored the restless nature of the mind, let's talk about its opposite, stillness. Imagine for a moment that your mind is like a lake. When the wind is strong, the surface ripples and waves, distorting the reflection of the sky above. But when the wind dies down, the water becomes calm, clear, and still. In that stillness, everything is reflected perfectly. This clarity, this quiet focus, is what Buddhist teachings describe as Samādhi, or concentration, a state where the mind becomes steady and undisturbed. allowing us to see things as they truly are. In Buddhism, Samadhi is considered one of the cornerstones of mental training, a pathway to understanding ourselves and the world on a deeper level. But here's something important to note. Concentration isn't about forcing your mind to be still. It's not about suppressing thoughts or pushing yourself into silence. Instead, it's about gently guiding your attention to one thing at a time, letting go of distractions, and allowing your mind to naturally settle into a state of calm. Think about it this way. Have you ever been so absorbed in a task that you lost track of time? Maybe you were painting, writing, or even gardening, and for a while, it felt like nothing else existed but that moment. That's Samadhi, the power of focused attention. It's when your mind becomes fully present, unshaken by past regrets or future anxieties, and completely immersed in what you're doing. So, how does this kind of concentration transform our restless minds? To understand that, we first need to explore what happens when we lack focus. Without concentration, our thoughts scatter in every direction. We might try to pay attention to one thing, but distractions pull us away, leaving us feeling fragmented and exhausted. In contrast, when we train the mind to concentrate, we give it a chance to rest and recharge. Focused attention acts like a spotlight, illuminating the object of our awareness and revealing its true nature. For example, imagine looking at a flower, not just glancing at it, but truly observing it. In a state of concentration, you notice the vividness of its colors, the delicate texture of its petals, and the way it gently moves in the breeze. You're not analyzing it or comparing it to other flowers, you're simply seeing it as it is in that moment. This kind of presence allows us to experience life more vividly and deeply. But Samadhi isn't just about appreciating beauty. It's also a powerful tool for understanding and overcoming the challenges we face in daily life. When the mind is calm and concentrated, we're better equipped to handle stress, make decisions, and respond to situations with clarity and wisdom. Instead of reacting impulsively, we can pause, reflect, and act from a place of balance. So, how do we cultivate Samadhi? The first step is practice. Just like building a muscle, developing concentration takes time and effort. One of the simplest ways to begin is through mindful breathing. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and bring your attention to your breath. Notice the sensation of the air as it enters and leaves your nostrils. If your mind starts to wander, which it will, gently guide it back to the breath. Over time, this practice strengthens your ability to focus and quiet the mental chatter. Another way to build concentration is by turning everyday activities into moments of mindfulness. For instance, when drinking tea, focus on the warmth of the cup in your hands, the aroma of the tea, and the sensation of each sip. When walking, pay attention to the rhythm of your steps and the feel of the ground beneath your feet. These small acts of mindfulness help anchor your awareness in the present moment, making it easier to cultivate Samadhi over time. But perhaps the most beautiful thing about Samadhi is that it's accessible to everyone, regardless of your background or experience. It doesn't require hours of meditation or a secluded retreat. All it takes is a willingness to slow down, to be present, and to observe the world with a quiet, focused mind. In the end, Samadhi is more than just a practice. It's a way of being. It's about finding clarity in the midst of chaos, stillness in the midst of movement, and peace in the midst of life's inevitable ups and downs. And as we deepen our ability to concentrate, we not only transform our minds, but also the way we experience the world around us. That is the power of Samadhi. The Western perspective, I think, therefore I am. To better understand the nature of the mind, let's shift our focus from the East to the West and explore one of the most famous philosophical statements in history. Cogito ergo sum, or I think therefore I am. This idea, introduced by the 17th century French philosopher René Descartes, is one of the foundational concepts of Western philosophy and has shaped the way we view the mind, the self, and the nature of existence. So what did Descartes mean by this statement? In his quest to understand the nature of reality, Descartes began by doubting everything. He doubted the reliability of his senses, the existence of the physical world, and even the validity of his own beliefs. But amidst this sea of doubt, he discovered one thing he couldn't deny: the fact that he was doubting. And if he was doubting, then he must be thinking. And if he was thinking, he must exist. Thus, I think, therefore I am became for Descartes the one undeniable truth, a foundation upon which he could build his philosophy. At its core, this statement highlights the centrality of thought in defining who we are. For Descartes, the act of thinking was not just a function of the mind, but the very essence of existence. In other words, to think is to be. This perspective places immense value on rationality, analysis, and the power of the human intellect. It celebrates our ability to reason, to question, and to make sense of the world through thought. But here's where it gets interesting. While Descartes emphasized the importance of thinking, his philosophy also introduced a significant divide: the separation of mind and body. In his view, the mind, the realm of thought, reason, and consciousness, was distinct from the physical body, which he saw as a mechanical vessel. This dualistic approach has influenced Western thought for centuries, shaping how we perceive ourselves and our relationship to the world. While this focus on the mind's rational capabilities has led to incredible advancements in science, technology, and philosophy, it also comes with its challenges. By equating existence with thought, we risk becoming overly identified with our thinking minds, to the point where we confuse our thoughts with who we are. Think about it. How often do we get caught up in overthinking, ruminating, or obsessing over problems? When this happens, we can feel disconnected from our bodies, our emotions, and even the present moment. This brings us to an important question: is thinking the only way to experience our existence? While Descartes saw thought as the foundation of being, Eastern traditions like Buddhism remind us that there's another dimension to our experience, one that lies beyond thought. Consider this. Have you ever had a moment when your mind became completely still? Perhaps you were watching a sunset, walking in nature, or holding a loved one's hand, and for a brief moment your thoughts fell away. In that space, you weren't analyzing or questioning, you were simply being. These moments remind us that our existence isn't limited to the activity of the mind. It also includes our ability to feel, to sense, and to connect with the world in a state of presence. But this doesn't mean we should dismiss Descartes' insights. In fact, there's a profound synergy between his philosophy and Eastern teachings. Descartes highlights the power of thought, while Buddhism emphasizes the importance of non-thought. Together, they reveal a more balanced understanding of the mind. Thought and non-thought are not opposites, but complementary states. Thought allows us to analyze, plan, and create, while non-thought provides space for rest, clarity, and deeper awareness. For example, let's revisit the metaphor of a flower. Descartes might encourage us to examine the flower closely, to study its structure, understand its biology, and appreciate its complexity through thought. Buddhism, on the other hand, might invite us to simply observe the flower without analysis, to see it as it is, in the present moment, without the interference of the mind. Both perspectives offer valuable insights, and when we learn to integrate them, we gain a richer, more holistic experience of the world. Ultimately, I think, therefore I am is a powerful reminder of our capacity for self-awareness and rationality. But it's only one piece of the puzzle. By balancing thought with presence, analysis with stillness, and the mind with the body, we can move beyond the restless chatter of the monkey mind and step into a state of deeper connection and understanding. So, while Descartes invites us to think, let's also remember to simply be. Because in those moments of presence, we discover a truth that goes beyond words, a truth that lies at the very heart of existence itself. Thought and non-thought, finding harmony. Now that we've explored the restless mind and the power of concentration, As well as the Western emphasis on thought, let's dive into a deeper question. What is the relationship between thought and non-thought? Are they opposing forces, or can they work together in harmony? To answer this, let's begin with a simple observation about life. Our minds are always busy. From the moment we wake up to the moment we fall asleep, our thoughts run on an endless loop, planning, analyzing, worrying, remembering, imagining. This constant mental activity often feels like progress, as if the more we think, the closer we'll get to solving our problems or understanding the world. But what happens when we think too much? When the mind is caught up in excessive thought, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and disconnected. We become lost in what-ifs and should-haves, replaying past mistakes or rehearsing future scenarios. It's like being trapped in a maze of our own making, where every turn leads to another question, another doubt. In these moments, our thoughts don't serve us, they control us. And this is where the power of non-thought comes into play. Non-thought doesn't mean the absence of intelligence or awareness. It's not about turning off your brain or rejecting rationality. Instead, non-thought is a state of being fully present, where the mind is calm, clear, and not entangled in its own narratives. It's the space between thoughts, the stillness that allows us to step back and simply observe. Imagine, for example, that you're standing by a river. If the water is turbulent, you can't see what's beneath the surface. But when the river becomes still, the hidden depths are revealed. The same is true for the mind. In moments of non-thought, we gain access to a deeper level of clarity and understanding, one that goes beyond analysis and logic. This idea of balancing thought and non-thought is central to many spiritual and philosophical traditions. In Buddhism, for instance, mindfulness and concentration practices are designed to help us move away from discursive thinking and into a state of presence. Instead of trying to solve every problem through thought, we learn to observe our thoughts without getting caught up in them. We become like a mountain, steady and unmoving as the winds of thought pass by. But what about the value of thought itself? After all, thinking allows us to reason, to create, and to connect with others. It's through thought that we build knowledge, solve problems, and navigate the complexities of life. The key, then, is not to eliminate thought, but to use it wisely. When we harmonize thought and non-thought, we gain the ability to approach life with greater balance. Consider this. When you're faced with a difficult decision, your initial instinct might be to think your way to a solution. You weigh the pros and cons, consider different outcomes, and analyze every detail. This is the power of thought at work. But if you find yourself stuck in overthinking, you might step back, take a deep breath, and let your mind rest. In that moment of non-thought, your intuition might quietly offer an answer, a sense of clarity that doesn't come from logic alone. A simple practice to cultivate this harmony is to alternate between thinking and mindful presence. For example, if you're brainstorming ideas for a project, take regular breaks to focus on your breath or observe your surroundings. These moments of non-thought create the mental space needed for creative insights to arise. Similarly, if you're meditating or practicing mindfulness, you might notice thoughts arising and use them as opportunities to practice letting go. One of the most profound lessons of this practice is that thought and non-thought are not enemies. They are two sides of the same coin, each serving a unique purpose. Thought gives us the tools to build and create. Non-thought gives us the wisdom to step back and reflect. Together, they allow us to navigate life with both clarity and depth. So, how do we find harmony between these two states? It begins with awareness. Notice when your thoughts are helpful and when they become a source of stress or distraction. Practice creating space in your mind through moments of stillness, whether it's through meditation, mindful breathing, or simply pausing to appreciate the present moment. Over time, you'll develop the ability to move fluidly between thought and non-thought, using each as needed. In this balance, we discover a truth that lies at the heart of many spiritual teachings. The mind is not meant to be a constant stream of activity. It is also a space of stillness, a mirror that reflects the world as it is. And when we embrace both thought and non-thought, we unlock the full potential of our minds, finding harmony not only within ourselves, but also with the world around us. The role of breath. Amidst the chatter of thoughts and the noise of daily life, there is one constant rhythm that connects us to the present moment, our breath. Often overlooked and taken for granted, the breath is much more than a biological function. It is a bridge between the body and the mind, a tool that can anchor us in the now and guide us toward a state of calm, clarity, and balance. Think about it. From the moment we are born, our breath accompanies us through every experience. Yet how often do we pause to truly notice it? For most of us, breathing happens unconsciously, a background process that only grabs our attention in moments of exertion or stress. But within this simple act lies profound power. In many spiritual and meditative traditions, including Buddhism, the breath is seen as the key to centering the mind, cultivating mindfulness, and connecting to our deeper selves. So why is the breath so significant? To understand this, let's explore its role in regulating both the body and the mind. Physically, the breath is our life force, delivering oxygen to every cell in the body and removing carbon dioxide. But it also plays a vital role in how we respond to stress. When we're anxious or overwhelmed, our breathing tends to become shallow and rapid, signaling the body to activate its fight or flight response. Conversely, when we take slow, deep breaths, we activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of our body responsible for rest and relaxation. This simple shift in breathing can calm the heart rate, lower blood pressure, and bring a sense of ease to both the body and the mind. But the breath's role goes beyond physical regulation. In the practice of mindfulness, the breath serves as an anchor, a point of focus that helps us stay present. It's always there, happening in real time, making it a perfect tool for grounding ourselves when our thoughts start to wander. By tuning into the rhythm of the breath, we create a space of stillness within the chaos, a refuge where the restless mind can begin to settle. Here's an example of how this works in practice. Imagine you're feeling overwhelmed by a flurry of thoughts. Your mind is jumping from one worry to the next, and it feels impossible to concentrate. In this moment, pause and take a deep breath. Inhale slowly, noticing the cool air as it enters your nostrils. Hold it for a moment, then exhale gently, feeling the warmth of the air as it leaves your body. Repeat this a few times, allowing your attention to rest fully on the sensation of breathing. What happens? Chances are you'll notice a subtle shift. Your mind might not stop racing entirely, but it will likely begin to slow down. This is the power of the breath. It doesn't force the mind into stillness, it invites it. By focusing on something as simple and natural as the breath, we give the mind a break from its constant activity and gently guide it back to the present moment. In Buddhism, the breath is often described as a bridge between the body and the mind. When we observe the breath, we're not just paying attention to a physical process, we're also observing the mind itself. For instance, have you ever noticed how your breath changes with your emotions? When you're angry, your breathing might become fast and shallow. When you're calm, it's slow and steady. By tuning into the breath, we gain insight into our inner state, allowing us to respond to our emotions with greater awareness and compassion. One of the simplest yet most powerful techniques for cultivating mindfulness is breath awareness. This practice doesn't require any special equipment or prior experience. All it takes is a willingness to pause and pay attention. You can start by sitting comfortably and bringing your attention to your natural breath. No need to change it, just observe it as it is. Notice the rise and fall of your chest, the sensation of air entering and leaving your nostrils, and the rhythm of each inhale and exhale. If your mind starts to wander, gently bring it back to the breath, without judgment or frustration. Over time, this practice can have a profound impact. By anchoring your awareness in the breath, you create a foundation of stability and calm that you can carry into your daily life. Whether you're facing a stressful situation, engaging in a difficult conversation, or simply navigating the challenges of the day, the breath is always there to guide you back to the present. In the end, the breath reminds us of a simple but powerful truth. Peace is not something we need to chase or create. It's already within us, waiting to be discovered in the rhythm of each inhale and exhale. By turning our attention to this natural process, we unlock the door to mindfulness, clarity, and a deeper connection with ourselves and the world around us. And that is the gift of the breath, a constant companion, a gentle teacher, and a path to the stillness we all seek. Practical steps to cultivate concentration. Now that we've explored the importance of calming the restless mind, embracing the balance between thought and non-thought, and the power of the breath, let's bring it all together with actionable steps. Cultivating concentration isn't something reserved for monks or mystics. It's a skill anyone can develop with patience and practice. Think of it as exercising a mental muscle. The more you work at it, the stronger it becomes. So, how do we begin to train the mind to focus, calm down, and become centered? Here are some practical steps to help you build your concentration. 1. Start small with a daily practice. Concentration doesn't develop overnight. Just as you wouldn't expect to run a marathon without training, you can't expect your mind to focus for long periods right away. Begin with small, manageable goals. Spend 5 minutes each day practicing mindfulness or meditation. During this time, focus your attention on a single object, your breath, a candle flame, or even a simple mantra. Gradually increase the duration as your ability to focus improves. Example, sit comfortably in a quiet space. Close your eyes and bring your attention to your breath. Count each inhale and exhale up to 10, then start again. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to your breath without judgment. 2. Create a distraction-free environment. Your surroundings have a significant impact on your ability to concentrate. A cluttered, noisy, or chaotic environment makes it harder to focus. Create a dedicated space for your practice, whether it's a corner of your room or a spot in the park where you can sit quietly without interruptions. Tip: turn off notifications on your phone or leave it in another room. A few moments of uninterrupted quiet can work wonders for your focus. 3. Practice single tasking. In today's multitasking culture, we often pride ourselves on doing multiple things at once. But multitasking can actually scatter your attention and reduce your ability to concentrate. Instead, embrace the practice of single tasking. Focus on one activity at a time, giving it your full attention. Example, when eating a meal, avoid scrolling through your phone or watching TV. Instead, focus on the taste, texture, and aroma of the food. Notice each bite and chew slowly. This simple act of mindfulness strengthens your ability to stay present. 4. Use the breath as an anchor. The breath is a powerful tool for concentration because it's always with you. Whenever you notice your mind wandering, take a moment to pause and return your attention to your breath. Focus on the sensation of the air entering and leaving your nostrils, or the gentle rise and fall of your chest. Practice. Try this simple exercise. Inhale deeply for a count of 4. Hold the breath for 4 counts, and exhale slowly for a count of 6. Repeat this cycle for a few minutes. This not only calms the mind, but also helps anchor your focus in the present. 5. Break tasks into smaller steps. When you're faced with a big task, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, which can make it harder to concentrate. To combat this, break the task into smaller, more manageable steps. Focus on completing one step at a time before moving on to the next. Example, if you're writing a report, start by focusing solely on the introduction. Once that's done, move on to the next section. Celebrate each small accomplishment as you go. 6. Use visual and physical focus tools. Sometimes, focusing on a physical or visual object can help train your mind to stay centered. A popular technique is to light a candle and focus on the flame. Watch how it flickers and moves, but resist the urge to let your mind drift. Similarly, you can use physical activities like yoga or Tai Chi to integrate concentration into movement. Practice. Spend 5 minutes gazing at the flame of a candle. If your mind wanders, gently bring your focus back to the flame. This practice not only sharpens concentration, but also brings a sense of calm and stillness. 7. Practice gratitude and reflection. At the end of your day, spend a few moments reflecting on what went well and what you're grateful for. Gratitude naturally brings your mind into the present moment and fosters a sense of calm, which is essential for maintaining focus over time. Exercise. Before bed, write down 3 things you're grateful for that day. As you reflect, notice how your mind begins to settle and focus on the positive. 8. Be patient with yourself. Finally, remember that cultivating concentration is a journey, not a destination. There will be days when your mind feels scattered, and that's okay. The key is to approach the practice with kindness and persistence. Each time you gently guide your mind back to the present moment, you're strengthening your ability to focus. Tip: treat your practice like tending a garden. Some days you'll see growth, other days it might feel stagnant, but with consistent care, your efforts will bear fruit over time. Conclusion: by incorporating these steps into your daily life, you'll begin to notice a shift in your ability to focus, stay present, and approach challenges with greater clarity. Concentration isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Each moment you spend training your mind is a step toward a more centered, peaceful, and fulfilling life. So, take a deep breath, start small, and trust the process. Because when the mind is calm and focused, there's nothing you can't achieve. In the end, centering the mind is not about achieving perfection. It's about creating a space where clarity, peace, and presence can flourish. As you go about your day, remember this: your mind is like a garden. With patience and care, you can nurture it to bloom with focus, understanding, and serenity. Thank you for tuning in to Radiant Wisdom. If this message resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Let's continue this journey together, one mindful step at a time.